Welcome to TrioTech Software Training's YouTube channel. So today in this video, we are going to see how to auto provision roles to the user and also deprovision the roles to the users in a bulk. Like in our earlier videos, we have seen how to create the user account in the system and how to assign the roles to the users manually. We have seen it. But typically, if you see in regular used cases in any of the implementation projects that you are part of, whenever you are going to work in the real-time projects, you might not be creating the user accounts manually in the system. Why? Because if it is a new hire directly in the application, as we know, we have the concept of automatic user creation. Like by default, when we enable the feature at the manage enterprise HCM information, we have the option, right? User account creation, both person and party users. So when we enable that functionality in the system, when we hiring the employee by the HR in the application directly, along with the employee or the worker record creation, the user account for that employee also will get created. But when we hiring the employee, only the user account only will get created to the employee. But how the roles will be assigned to the employee? As we know, in Fusion applications, the concept of security provisioning to the employee or the access to the screens or to the assignments for what he is working for to be provisioned to the employee based upon the roles that we are assigning to him, right? So every user account, when they got created in the system, the respective roles to be enrolled to that user account. Then only the user, when they log in into the system with their credentials, they can able to access to the application. It could be any role depending upon his job or assignment or the position that which he is going to work for. The respective roles we are going to tag or assign to them. But how it can be happened in a bulk? Why? Because in regular used cases, if you see in the real time cases, during the time of implementation, from the legacy system to the Fusion application, like whatever our client's existing ERP, from their legacy system to the Fusion application, the data conversion will be happen, the data migration will be happen. So let's suppose we used our HDL, that is HCM data loader, in order to bulk upload the employee records in the system. So as we know that when we are doing the bulk uploading of workers data, the user accounts also will be loaded, and then user accounts in fact will be created in the system by running the LDAP process. But in that situation also, only user accounts will get created in a bulk for all the employees that you are migrating or uploading. But how the roles will be provisioned to them? That is one case. Second case is whenever you hiring the employee directly in the system, whenever you directly hiring the employee in the system by going to my client group, new person, and then trying to hire an employee, only the user account in this case also will get created. So as a HR administrator, after creating the record, again, they will not go to security console, go to the user, then search for that user account, then adding of roles. That doesn't happen, or it cannot be handled in that. There should be some way in the system how the user accounts to be auto enrolled to the employees. How it can be done? For that, we are having a concept in the system called role mappings. Nothing but we will call it as auto provisioning of roles in the system. That nothing but role mapping. How it can be done? I will show you a sample record or sample uh, hiring case we will see now. I will try to hire an employee and I will try to check whether to my employee does the roles assigning or not. So let me go to my client group, new person, and I will go to hire an employee. So I will try to give only the basic info what are all required, not everything. Let's suppose I'm hiring in one of the existing legal employer, that is Vision Corporation, and person number I will give something like 98366, some person number which was in manual setup currently in the system. So I'm giving something like role testing 1. Okay. And rest of the fields, as we know, I'm not giving them. Only the mandatory fields what are required I'm giving. So just I'm quickly creating the user in the, hiring the employee record in the system. So here, whatever the mandatory fields are required, I'm picking up only that. So I'm hiring an employee in the business unit called GMR Motors UKBU and in this Vision Corporation legal entity. So as we know, assignment status by default will come, person type will come. So manager details and all as of now I'm not giving, just I'm removing it because I'm not going to show you how to hire an employee. We have another video in place to check how to hire an employee in the system that we can check. Let's suppose HR hiring the employee record in the system. So if you can see here on the fourth tab, when we hiring an employee on the compensation and other information tab, if I scroll down, there is something called role request. And here I could able to see the basic abstract role in the system, employee role tagging to the employee. See, provisioning method, automatic with respective to the hire date that I am hiring the employee, status add requested. Why this employee role tagging to the employee when I'm hiring in the system? Because in this application currently what we are using to hire this record, already the role mapping rule defined for this employee role. That is why the employee role is auto assigned to the employee team when I'm hiring the person record or the worker record. So depending upon the hiring information I am giving at the assignment level, whatever the hiring information, business unit, legal employer, assignment status, person type, on some of those conditions, the role mapping defined for this employee abstract role. That is why it is tagging, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how it is going to work. So I'm going to click on only employee role tag, but I want another roles also because this employee going to work as a HR manager. So I want to assign human resource manager, human resource specialist, or payroll admin, these roles also. But they didn't tag it so far, only employee role tag. Let me complete the hiring transaction of that record. Okay, now the hiring completed in the system. Now, as a HR admin, I will go to the employee record and I will check out whether any roles assigned to the employee, a part of that abstract role that is employee, because in this instance at which we are using already condition enabled, that's why it tagged. Now I hired the employee. Now I'm going to my client group and then I will go to person management and I will search with that person which we hired just now, role testing one. This is the person, right? So if I go to actions, as a HR admin, if I go to personal employment, I have user account where I can land up on the user account details of that individual, right? So let me go to the user account details and let me check what is the user account. See, the username taken up, first name dot last name, that's coming from the user category defined in the system. And see, only one role, that is employee role tagged to the employee. How it happened? How the employee role tagged to the employee by default in the system. And I want another roles also to be tagging to the employee. How it will be done? We have a concept in place in the system called role mappings. That's what I told you. So before we starting the hiring of an employees in the system or bulk uploading of workers data from the legacy system to the Fusion application, preliminary prerequisite setup that which we have to do in the system should be defining the auto provisioning rules, nothing but defining the role mapping conditions to our rules. How should be done? How it should be done? Go to my client group and then go to the work structures here. Okay, work structures. Under your work structures, if you scroll down, you can find your security profiles section. Under that, you have something called data role, right? So basically, in order to create the custom data role in the system and assigning the security profiles, that all we have seen already earlier team, that is in data role security profiles, we can do that one. Now the roles are defined. Now here I have a concept called a role mapping. So in order to bulk assign the roles to the employee, we have to create the role mapping rule for each of the role that we're configuring in the system. Go to this role mappings, and by the way, if you required to get access to this role mappings in the system, your user that which you logged into the system, should be assigned with a role called IT security manager role. If that role assigned to you, then this role mapping option will get, because some of the students used to ask me, Kumar, like when we are practicing in the instance, we are not getting the options of the security profiles or data role section when we come to our workforce structure. That is because your user not assigned with our IT security manager role. So if you have that role enabled to you, then you will get access to these things. Go to role mappings, and here for our employee mapping, I'm searching with mapping. Any role mappings already defined for any rules, you can check here. I'm searching with employee. See, already there is one role mapping created for our employee role. That is why when I'm hiring an employee, the employee role auto assigned to that employee. If I go to this editing that employee name, I can see that role mapping. See, the conditions. Basically, here we have to maintain the condition. So currently in this system, for this role of employee, whoever the employee is having person type of employee and assignment status as active payroll eligible, for them, the role, the abstract role employee to be auto provision. That was already configured. That's why when we hiring an employee, when employee hired in, satisfied these conditions, this role trigger to the employee team. But let's see how to create freshly the system. So come to role mapping and create your role mapping rules for all your roles in the system. Click on create plus icon, and here which for which role you are going to write something like for our human resource manager data role. So you can give from date. I'm giving something like 1/1/1951. From when onwards you want this role mapping to be workable in the system. So I'm giving from that date. If you want any specific date, from date to date, within this time, whoever hiring, then only this condition should work. Then you can give from date and to date to that role mapping rule also team. And then when you creating the role mapping, here you have to insert your conditions. Several parameters are available here. So it's about our business requirement of the client. Human resource manager role, for which people in the system that role should be auto assigned. So you have legal employer parameter, business unit parameter, department, job, position, grade, LDG, assignment type, then HR assignment state. Many things we have to. What parameters you want to use? So I'm giving the legal employer parameter as vision, corporation, legal entity, and then the business unit also I'm giving something like okay, GMR Motors UK business unit. So I have given two conditions. So whenever you giving two conditions, it will be working in an and condition. Means what? In this system now, whoever the employee hiring in this legal employer and whoever the employee working in this business unit, for them, this role mapping is going to evaluate and the respective role is going to be tagged. So any other further conditions you want? I also want assignment status to be active payroll eligible. Then I also want system person type should be employee. Anything that you want, you can use your conditions team. What is your requirement for the business, for the client basically? You can use that particular conditions. So when you hiring an employee, if these conditions are satisfied by that employee, because while you hiring, you will provide all these details to the employee, correct? If these conditions are satisfied, then immediately this mapping will trigger to that person. And here we are going to associate the rules. Human resource manager is a mapping name. So I'm giving human resource manager role mapping. The name just I'm giving for our understanding purpose like this. And here you are going to associate the rules. Which roles to be triggered for these people, for these eligible people. Click on plus icon. Okay. Then search and tag your roles here. So I'm searching with human resource manager. Click on OK. So any other role you want to assign, I'm also expecting that one more role called payroll admin also. Okay, so payroll admin also. I'm tagging these things. So these two roles I'm creating one role name, something like I will use it as human resource manager and also payroll admin for understanding purpose, to be clear. By looking at the mapping name, I can understand, okay, two roles being used in this rule. So you can add as many roles you can. But the thing is, whatever the role mapping you are creating now, that role mapping is for these roles. So when hiring happening in the system, if employee hiring in this legal employer in this business unit and his assignment status is active payroll eligible, then these two roles will be auto tagged. So for all the roles in the system, whatever our abstract roles or the custom data roles with security profiles we are creating, and which are all the roles to be tagged to which employees, here are the conditions we are going to meet. For these two roles, I'm creating a role. You can limit it to one role, two roles, or whatever it is. And this delegation allowed concept I have covered when we creating this custom. Currently, I have added job roles in this demo instance. But whenever we creating our custom data roles, we have the option delegation allowed. Means what? This will come from the role basically. When this role created in the system, delegation flag, if you enable, then it will be coming as enabled here. What is that I told you? Delegation allowed, like HR can delegate the role from one employee to another employee in his absence or in his vacation period. You want to give access of one employee to another employee, then the roles can be delegatable. And then while you creating the role mapping, if you select requestable and self-requestable, this is for auto provision. Auto provision means to get the assigned these roles automatically. Requestable and self-requestable also, if I enable here team, once I complete this role mapping condition defining, whenever in the system, requestable means a manager or a HR can request the role from the front end UI to the employees if they want to request. So these roles can be requestable. In the requestable section, when they're searching, these roles will be visible there. Self-requestable means the user can request the role to himself in the system, whatever the role that he is looking for, self-request. If I'm not enabling these things, only requestable and auto provision I'm enabling, only these two roles are requestable. Means what? HR or manager can request the roles to the employees or to the users. Okay, self-requestable also I'm enabling, then the user himself can request the rules accordingly from the UI level. Now I'm enabling these two. Our point of understanding is this auto provisioning. So when you creating a role mapping in the system for your roles with the conditions, enable these two. It means these two roles to be auto provisioned to the user, auto assignable to the user. If that user satisfying these conditions, click on save and close. Right. Now you come and check in the role mapping, your role mapping will get created. So this is your role mapping. What is that? Human resource manager and payroll admin, CT. For two of the roles it got created. Now, what I will do is, I will try to hire an employee in the system with that respective conditions employee satisfied. And let's take it out. My client group, new person, then I'm going to hire an employee. What are the conditions I use it team? In the legal employer of Vision. So I'm hiring the employee in the same legal employer, Vision Corporation legal employer. Then I will give something person number. Then I'm giving role mapping testing 2. Something employee name for our understanding purpose. I'm giving like this. And then I will go to the next tab. Then next tab. Then what else conditions that we have to satisfy? Employee to be hiring in which business unit in this GMR Motors UKB. And also assignment status, payroll, active payroll eligible. See team, 3 conditions are satisfied here. Employee hiring in this legal employer, that is Vision Corporation, and employee hiring in this business unit, and employee assignment status is active payroll eligible. So 3 conditions that employee is satisfied while he is getting hired in the system by the HR. Now if I go to next tab, here only you can see, if you scroll down, see, when I came to role request section in this compensation and other information tab, 3 of the roles are tagging. Earlier only employee role tagged, but now see, payroll admin and human resource manager. See, three of the roles provision. Now, if I click on next, and submit, the person record will get created as well as the user account gets created with the roles assigning to him. Now let me go back. As a HR admin, I will try to check this person. My client group, person management, and I'm searching this employee with name called role mapping. This is our employee. Let me go to actions. Okay. The person employment, user account. Now let me check here team. What are the roles auto tag? I didn't assign the roles to the employee manually. Let's check it out. What roles assigned? See, this is the username, first name dot last name, and see the roles here. Employee, human resource manager, and payroll admin. These two roles are the current role mapping that which we discussed. So this is how in the real-time implementations, you are going to work on the concept of roles. Now see team, whatever the data roles I have in the system, I will input my conditions. Oracle given a very good, fantastic approach or the concept in the system in order to auto assign the roles to the employee. So what happens now? By having that role mapping conditions that I defined for these roles, whenever hiring happening, if that employee satisfying that conditions, automatically the roles got assigned. Manually, HR didn't assign team. Now you might get a question. Kumar, okay. Let's suppose you created the role mapping with the conditions. Okay. Now employee got hired in the system as per the conditions in that legal employer, in that BU, in that what have to say, assignment status, he got defined. Now, at some point of time, employee is going to transfer. So from GMR UK business unit to some other BU, something like a GMR infra BU. Now that person losing the eligibility for that respective conditions we maintain at the role level, right or wrong? The roles human resource manager and payroll administrator are to be only for the people who are working in Vision Corporation legal employer and GMK UK infra BU, and assignment status should be active payroll. Now my employee transferring. Today my HR did the transfer to my employee. So let me go to person management. Okay. I will search that employee. Okay, I'm going to the person record. So I'm initiating a transfer. So from the classic user interface only I'm doing. When update. So let's suppose in the next 2 days, let's suppose on February 2nd, we are going to make that person, or let's say on today itself, hired the employee. But today only I'm going to transfer the employee. Something I'm doing transfer. Click on OK. Or not even transfer. I'm trying to correct some information of the employee. Let's suppose I have wrongly hired the employee. Something the employee should not be hired in GMK Motors BU. He should be hired in some other business unit. So I'm correcting the assignment of the employee and I'm changing the business unit. Review, and now see here. See here. When I'm trying to do that one, I'm getting that role request. See, currently these two roles are there. And here the status is T, remove requested. What happening here, T? He's getting ineligible now. Only employee role only he becoming eligible. Payroll admin and human resource manager is getting ineligible. See, remove requested. Because he's losing the eligibility, he's transferring his business detail, unit details getting corrected to Akshara Enterprises. Nothing but what? As per the condition in the system, only people who are working in this legal employer, in this business unit, okay, and assignment status to be this one, only to be eligible for that requirement, for that particular role that we have defined. But now the employee details got corrected. Then in that situation, what will happen, team? System will remove the rules. I think it went for approval. Let me check it out. I think the transaction of correction that what we did, probably it went for approval. Mhm. I think it should be bypassed. So it went for approval. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me do one thing. Let me try to. This is the concept that we know, that is workflows and approvals. In the system, it went for approval. Let me just terminate it and I will try to reinitiate. Just I bypassed that transaction. Manage employment screen. So what I will do is I will go to manage employment quickly and I will try to go to that particular record and I will redo the transaction T, because I want to show you right now what will be the impact in the system when the employee getting updated with any conditions that which he is not eligible for. Now from GMR to Akshara that I have updated. Review. Okay, that's okay. Click on OK and submit. Okay, now let me come back to the employee, close it, and then let me come to that employee record and let me check it out. Let me go to personal employment and let me go to user account. Now see team, now I came to the user account. What happened to the roles? Human resource manager and payroll admin. They got removed from the user. Did I did it manually? No. Just I corrected the employee assignment details, but the roles got removed. That is the automated behavior in the system team, because employee is not satisfying the conditions that which to be met for that respective roles. When we defining the role mapping, we configured that roles only for GMR UK Infra BU. Now I did the correction. That how system will do. This is about deprovisioning of roles. Auto provisioning or deprovisioning. System will take care depending upon the assignment level changes or the attributes. Now you might get a question. Kumar, from the UI level you are doing it. That's okay. System taking care of it. But let's suppose we were doing on an HDL. From the back end, we are uploading the data. The assignmental corrections I did for bulk to the employees in a through HDL or through HSDL. Something via HDL data loaders or HSDL data loader I am using and doing bulk changes to the employee record. During that time also, system will take care of this one, or is there any other thing that I have to do? We have a process team. Whenever that situation coming, when you are uploading the data or when you are correcting the data or updating the employee data, any conditions that are updating for the employee, then system will not update accordingly. From the UI level, if you do front end level, if you do that, system will take care. As per the eligibility, removal or addition of the role, system will do. But if you are doing it from the back end through HDL or HSDL data uploads you are doing, in that case, we have a process available called go to tools and then go to scheduled process. Okay. And then we have a process available in the system called go to schedule new process and then search with a task called auto provisioning of rules. Go to search and search with a task called auto provisioning of rules. Okay, this one, auto provisioning rules for all users. So you have to run this process. So while running, process generated role request in the basic options in the parameters, keep it as yes. Okay, then it will regenerate the role request. And if you want to run this process only for the active employees, inactive, suspended, you can keep the status also team. If you keep active and if you submit only for active employees, the process will get running. If you want all people, just keep it blank and you can click on submit. So once you run this process, what it will do, see the description of the process, evaluates an enterprise role mapping conditions and create role requests for users according to specified criteria. Right, team? This process will evaluate the eligibility conditions. Now I did some bulk corrections to the employee. Actually, for some 100 employees, I did business unit change. For all that 100 employees, the roles to be removed. Just submit the process. Once the process runs in the system, it will check what are all the role mapping rules available in the system for different roles what are the eligible conditions. If any employee mismatching with that condition, still that roles are available. This process will remove that roles. At the same time, this process will be useful to enroll the roles also team. Let's suppose today I have created 100 workers in the system. Through HDL, I have created the worker records. Bulk upload I did. 100 or 1500 employees today I have migrated into the system. User accounts got created. If I run the process, already role conditions I have defined. For all my roles, the role mappings I defined with conditions. Now today, if I run the process, whoever the people getting qualified with the respective conditions maintained at that role mapping level, for all that respective people, the respective roles will auto tag. So this process auto provision roles for users. If you submit in the system, even you can schedule also. If you go to advanced mode on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, if you want, as you know how to schedule the concurrent programs, right? You can even schedule. As soon as you run this process, whoever eligible to the roles, this process will enroll the roles to the employee. Whoever become ineligible to the roles because of their conditions unsatisfaction, then from them or for that employee records, the roles will be removed. So this is one process. When you do the updations from the backend via HDL or HSDL uploads, if you do, then this process is going to help you out in order to check the eligibility of the employees with respective to the role mapping conditions. So this is about the concept of auto provisioning of roles in the system to the employee, as well as deprovisioning of roles to the employees in the bulk infusion applications team. So I hope the topic is clear to everyone in this respective video. So please like this video and please share this video to your peer groups if anyone else required info about this auto provisioning or deprovisioning concept. And also please do subscribe to our YouTube channel in order to get more videos on this Oracle related subject topics. Thank you everyone for watching this video.